Okay. Well, after visiting both of the offices there, you guys then headed on down to Turkey to visit the refinery. And who did you meet with down there? In other words, who gave you the grand tour? And if you can, tell us a little bit about what you observed while you were there at the refinery and the mint.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I want to be I want to say that I'm being a little bit vague about my answers because there's certain things I'm under non-disclosures about things that were discussed over there. But we're going to reveal as much as we can, and it'll all be revealed over time, of course. So I'll get as specific as I can on these questions, but understand that there's certain things that I'm not allowed to discuss yet, but they'll be coming out soon. So when we went down to the refinery Thursday, we went over to the facilities. We were picked up by a limo and so forth or whatever. We went over to the facilities, and we went through an all-day tour. And we were able to not only ask a lot of questions, we also took a lot of, documentary pictures and videos and so forth. And, everybody was very forthcoming. They didn't really hide anything from us. And again, in fact, we got to see and hear some things that we're not at liberty to talk about yet. But in any case, everything about the facilities, again, I'm not a refinery expert or a gold mining expert and that type of thing. But if there was any hoax there, it's more elaborate to create the hoax than it is the reality. Okay.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that's really a key. And they had their scientists and engineers there. They showed us all the processes. They showed us everything basically that we asked to see. And all the documentation, all the certification, all the facilities, all of the equipment. And again, even some things that are still proprietary. So, I was very, very impressed with their honesty and their transparency and, all of the things they've done to show credibility. Because, there were some TV stations that went over there and did some so-called exposés. But, they went to the wrong addresses and they did a lot of very inferior things. So it looks like they were just, again, trying to get some sensationalism going. But everything about it is extremely impressive, and they've got some new media groups coming in soon to do some other documenting and TV programs and so forth. And when those come out, it's going to be nothing but excited explosion for us because there's nothing that they're going to find there that's not impressive about what we've got to offer.
Well, Steve, one of the things that I know a lot of people are concerned about, I mean, they're going to go from, being in business in several European countries to launching the world over the next year. And how in the world can KB meet the demand that is coming when they launch all these new countries? What is their production capacity now and in the future?
Well, first of all, they showed us not only equipment that they've been using for a while, but new equipment they had just had shipped in, and they were gearing up to make everything a lot more automated. I mean, there's a lot of labor-intensive aspects of this production, but they're making everything a lot more automated. They're adding equipment all the time. They're buying equipment before that, they used to outsource things to get done on the cards and various aspects. They're bringing it all in-house. They're expanding their facilities, and they've got plenty of more room to expand to, too, if it's needed. But, again, they are bringing everything in, paying cash for it. They're getting everything that they need with no hesitation. And they will just keep on expanding the facilities, and they'll create refineries in other parts of the world as well.
What's their production capacity right now?
Well, it's 48,000 units a day right now. And 800,000 units a month is what they can gear up to when they go 3 shifts. So that for sure they've got already. And, they can expand beyond that in the facilities that they have as well as other nearby facilities. And, that is a key factor. But also you got to understand, again, I can't go into great detail, but they have some proprietary methods of extracting gold from ore and even ore that's been processed for other purposes. And I'll give you an example, again, without getting into detail, is they've got some ore there that they can get in unlimited quantities that is sold to various refineries on the basis of it having only 3 grams of gold per ton. They're extracting 45 grams, 15 times what others are supposed to be getting from it or what it's being sold as. So they can get unlimited, amounts of that. There's many other examples of that. You'll see on the photos and the videos, there was probably 200 different types of ore samples there. So their proprietary extraction methods and, their other aspects of their expertise in the refinery business is what's going to set them apart, really, because sure, they own mines, and they have rights for other mines, and in various places from Turkey to Ukraine to South Africa, and they're looking at others. But the key is that they've got all this other ore that they can process as well, and as well as being able to buy, being a refinery and a mint, being able to buy junk, or scrap metal and refine that and so forth. They're not going to run out of gold. In fact, if they run out of gold, I think most of us are going to be very happy because that means it's going to probably be like 50,000 a gram by then. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I know another, and I know you obviously know, and those of us that have been involved for a while know why and how they can do this. But for new people, how can KB afford to pay the large commissions? I mean, you can get paid up to $900 for referring someone that opens a gold-backed savings plan, and then they're going to pay residual on deposits up to 5.5% each deposit. How in the world can they afford to do that?
Well, basically, again, it's in the logic, it's in the facts, and if you can get 15 times as much out of ore as others around the planet are getting, you got a good head start there. Okay.
Yeah.
There are other extraction methods. And again, owning rights or having joint ventures or owning mines and owning the refinery, owning the mint. They've got all of the resources right up to the distribution model handled. So those percentages that normally go out to other entities are being. Hello?
Yeah, we're still there. I think somebody hit a button somewhere, but that's the tactical advantage that we spoke about when we were discussing the features and the history, growth, and development. They have a true tactical advantage on all their competitors out there. So that is very comforting to know. Is there anything? I spent a lot of time. Excuse me, but I spent a lot of time, questioning Mike Cochin on this. And, of course, Harold was there and others were there as well that are already receiving, large paychecks. And I said that, it sounded almost too good to believe. I said, I understand to a certain extent how you're able to get those margins. And I just want to know that that you have planned for being able to pay all of the different types of pools and everything that you have allotted here, that you've run the dummy commission runs, that you've done the payouts, for the last, 18 months or so. So I'm fairly confident, but I want to know from, you, Mike, why you're paying out such a large percentage of your potential profits and, how you feel that you can continue to do that. And again, it was answered by Mike, but it was also answered by all the other factors. It's the margins are there because they carry it from, the sand all the way up to the cellar, Right.
That's the key. They've got all those aspects in there, and they've been paying. They have never missed a paycheck, and they have never missed a gold delivery. And that was my bottom line, too, because when I got to the refinery, I was planning on insisting on going to the mine and going to the vault and so forth. And I didn't have to after that because I could see it doesn't matter whether we own the mines or not. They have the capacity regardless because of their other capabilities. And, and that really obviously is a key. And, the other reason is, there are other producers out there of the 1 gram, and I don't think anybody's doing the 0.5 gram yet, but even if they do, because of all of our other aspects, we've got more margins. And we're still selling the 1 gram Kinnabar unit at, what is the market price, basically. We're lower than some, a little bit higher than others. But for the most part, we are selling at the same rate others are of the exact same type of product. The Kinnabar, 1 grams, half grams, quarter grams, 5 gram, 2.5 grams, so forth. But because we've got all these other aspects in there, we can afford to pay out the referral commissions. Because all of these refineries and mints are paying referral commissions. We're just a lot more visionary and a lot less greedy.
Yeah, well put. Well, next question has to do with the audits. Who audits our gold and storage, and how do we know it's safe?
Well, again, here's the factor. Again, like I said before, I was going to visit the vaults, but I saw enough documentation and verification in other means. And, come on, let's think sensible about this. These guys have been out there for 17 years as a financial services company. They've been doing this for 1.5 to 2 years. If there was anything that was, fraud or was not credible, or not viable, it would come out on the internet. It would come out with the authorities and so forth. There's been nothing credible against it. So when they got their certification from the Swiss government, and to maintain that, every load of cards, when it comes out of the refinery and goes to Switzerland, has, government authorities, not only, and their sub-authorities or whatever they contract with, not only auditing the gold, but randomly checking every card. If they so much as find one that is not 24 karat, 9999 fine, then we lose our license for a minimum of 6 years and probably won't get it back. So out of 95 refineries in the world and only 6 that are private, us being one, we are not about to give that up. They double check every, batch of gold that comes off. And if there's anything that's not perfect about it, it goes back in the smelter until it is. And I think that's, a big part of the key. Not only that, but the Swiss government, their, main, KB offices and, entity there and their certifications there insist that within 3 days after receiving the money on the gold, it has to be in the gold and in the vaults. So that, and of course, some's taken out for shipping to Munich and then the rest of the world and so forth. But it goes through that process. And if it wasn't the case, then we'd already have those negative facts out there, and they don't exist, other than opinions and speculations and total, lies. So everything about it is credible. And, common sense and logic is what I rely on a lot, and hopefully most people do. And we would know that if there was anything about this process that, somebody could take a shot at, they'd be doing it because they're taking shots, but they're all blanks.
Right. Well, that you answered my next question, which was the accountability of gold purity, and that is so huge, and that their process is so special in the fact that, they are going to guard their license like a pit bull his last bone, and the last thing they're going to allow to happen is product to get out there that's not what it's been presented to be. Next question.
Mike, let me just say this, that Mike brought this up too, and it's, again, common sense, logic, and so forth too.
Steve, do you want to share who this Mike is that you're referring to for our new people?
I'm sorry, Mike Cochin, who is the CEO and owner of the National Financial Company and, of course, of KB Gold itself. Mike Cochin, who's in all the documentation, is the main owner and the visionary behind everything that we're doing right now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.